All right, Zoo Crew. It is very late in the day. We have made it back from Saskatoon, so it's not going to be a very long video. You can hear Callie in the background yelling. She may end up joining us for this video. Oh, she has entered the room. I don't know if you guys can see her or not, but she's here. Um, yeah. So again, it's going to be a very short video. I'm going to talk about some travel tips or tricks, I guess you could say. The first one being like most people, I guess before we even get into like the travel hacks or like the credit hacks, um, we should discuss credit cards, right? So most people have credit cards that give them all kinds of different perks or like benefits, but they don't actually read the fine print. Callie, sorry, she's going crazy. But yeah, people don't read the fine print and they don't realize like the benefits they have, right? So a lot of people like when you're traveling, you might know somebody who's like always in an airport lounge, but they don't travel first class or business. So it's like, how are these people in the airport lounge? It's very simple. There's something called the Visa Airport Companion app, and depending on what credit card you have, you get like anywhere from like 2 to 6 to 8 different passes that you can use in a select few lounges. So like you can't go to the Air Canada lounge or like the WestJet lounge, but there's like other lounges in the airport that you can go to for free, right? And you can take guests with you. So that's the first thing. The second thing is when you're like traveling and if you want to rent a car, first of all, you should rent a car. Because the last time we went to Saskatoon, I thought it was like there was nothing out there. And this time that we had the car, so we explored, found a bunch of great, different, cool restaurants. Realized that the food scene in Saskatoon is better than the food scene in Ottawa. Like some of these restaurants, like they don't even have anything comparable to that in Ottawa, right? So I was very much surprised. And the thing is, like with a car rental, they'll ask you like, oh, do you want to get this extra coverage, or do you want like this insurance or whatever? You don't need to ever get that. If you're using a credit card to rent a car, it's built into your credit card. Same thing with like travel insurance, health insurance, etc. While you're traveling, all of these things, depending on the credit card you have, are baked into your credit card, right? Um, so yeah, if you're ever renting a car, do not get tricked into buying extra insurance. And third and final thing is, uh, if you ever wanted to fly business class or like first class, but you don't want to spend that much money, I'm going to give you a quick little trick. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about why I think everyone should do this at least once in their life, uh, especially if you're like an entrepreneur or like someone who considers themselves like a high performer or like you're in sales or like you fall into this kind of category. And the reason being it's something that like Black Card used to like taught me, right? Something like Stefan and Damon used to say is essentially like a thermostat. So you can have two guys come into the same job, but one's thermostat is set higher than the other. So same script, same like leads, but one person is gonna make like 200K versus one guy who's gonna make 20K, right? It's because their thermostat is set higher, so they're able to like see the vision and like get to the vision. And this is where like the whole idea or like notion of like spending a bit of money and like experiencing or like tasting life, you know? So in terms of like if you're ever going somewhere and you have good luck, first of all, you can always like approach the person that you check in, and if they're friendly and like you have an interesting story, um, sometimes they'll just upgrade you for free, right? If the flight is empty or close to empty, you have a pretty good chance of doing that. The other way to do this, the more kind of successful way, I guess you could say, to do this, is you buy your ticket economy or like economy plus whatever. And then again, this is why I said it depends on your luck. What you'll end up doing is after you check in, you can either go in the app or you can Callie is inspecting the gimbal. You might see her in the frame. Oh, there's her tail. Hello, Callie. So what you can do is once you've checked in, go to the kiosk or like go to the attendant, the person who's at the counter, and just ask them like, hey, is the business class full? And if it's not, you can ask them to upgrade you. And depending on like where the flight's going or how busy it is, it'll end up costing you only a little bit of money. So you could end up like, let's say you buy a ticket for a couple $100 to go to somewhere within the country, and then that flight's empty. Now you can literally spend maybe like 50, 60 to like $200 to upgrade into business class, and then you get to experience and taste it. And then again, like once you've done that, it's like a whole different experience, first of all. And you'll want to keep doing that, which will kind of force you to go and make more money, right? So yeah, Zoo Crew, that's it for today. As you can probably tell, I'm exhausted. It's been a long journey, it's been a long day of travel, but from tomorrow we're back to real life. Peace out. Callie, you want to say bye? And there goes Callie.